Okay, we're gonna give it 10 seconds to make sure we're live. We're confirmed live. Boy, that was good. We had a dry run, ladies and gentlemen. We thought we were live. We were not live, and now we're 4 minutes into our segment, but we're now live. Good morning. It is the 24th. It's Thursday, 24th of June, 2021. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm joined by Brandon Cron, my partner at Traffic Safety Programs, and Sergeant Brett Moore. He is a supervisor with the Vision Zero enforcement team, and we are talking about traffic safety, but specifically about Vision Zero and what they do. Brandon, you want to start off by where the team is today?
So Vision Zero enforcement team today is going to be in 23 division as well as 41 division. So if we pull up our handy dandy interactive map, anyone who watches the show knows you can go to torontopolice.on.ca/divisions/map, and that will give you this fancy interactive map. From here, you can choose any part of the city that you might reside in or where VZ is, and you can find out more information. So today we've got 23 divisions, so we've got 23 divisions here. It gives us some divisional boundaries as well as some additional information as to how you can contact 23 division officers, and the other division we have is 41 division. Same stuff. You can get your divisional boundaries here, as well as you can pull up this fancy dancy interactive map, and maybe you'll be fortunate enough to see a Vision Zero officer and wave hello. And
wave is probably as much as you'd want to do, because you don't want to have a
you.
reason for them to pull you over. Vision Zero enforcement team is a team of dedicated officers that focus on the big four driving behaviors. That is going to be your speeding, aggressive and distracted, and impaired driving. And they're the behaviors that lead most often to serious injury and death. And Vision Zero is trying to reduce that down to zero. So good morning, Sergeant Moore. Thanks for joining us again. We're almost getting into a regular routine.
Exactly. I love the power of social media, and for you guys putting this thing on every day.
Monday to Friday, yes. We're here for half an hour talking about stuff and things, and then we move on to TikTok for a 1 hour live. In fact, I'm streaming on my other account right now, so some folks are watching both Brandon and I on a different platform talking to you. They just can't see you, so we'll just repeat everything you say. No. So what's going on today? Anything special or unique?
Nope. Other than Brandon covered the divisions that we're in, and just we've spoken about it before, but I'm sure hopefully there's a few new people in the room that are trying to get caught up and understand what we're all about. We are a dedicated group of officers. We've in terms of a job for a traffic officer, I don't think there's any better in the sense that this team, 16 officers, and myself and my partner Clint Stibbe, we really have the run of the city. We're not answering radio calls. We're not going to crashes or collisions for the most part. We are really just really focused on traffic enforcement. We get a lot of good direction and analytics from our traffic analysts, and they give us a hand with where community complaints are, where different things are happening. So yeah, I'll tell you, it's just it's about high enforcement. We're looking for the stunt drivers, distracted drivers, those kinds of things. You may, I know you're saying that, sort of wave at a VZ officer. Typically, I'll be honest with you, you're probably not going to see us. Now, we're not hiding in the bushes or anything like that, or sort of repelling from trees, but it's more we're using the police department's equipped us with unmarked vehicles, pickup trucks, things like that. So it's not we're not driving around in typical police type vehicles. So and for good reason. It's to be sneaky. It's to give us an advantage over drivers that are choosing to drive irresponsibly, high speeds, erratic lane changes, those kinds of things on the cell phone, that kind of behavior. So we're really about that, and that's why we have that equipment and go from there. So
you mentioned that concept of hiding, being a little sneaky. A lot of people ask us in the chats on social media, what is the goal? Why are you hiding? Why isn't it better to be out and visible so people will slow down?
It is, and then we, right now I'm driving around in a marked police car, but definitely the reason that we have to do that is people change behavior quickly when they see a cop car, right? And so, people that are typically driving erratically, doing things, they know. It's like, as an example, like shoplifting. People know it's wrong. They don't have to be told that that the behavior in a store is wrong. Just like on our public roads, driving aggressively, dangerously, all those kinds of things. People know it's wrong. They're taking a chance. And it's amazing when they see a marked car either parked off to the side of the road or behind them, that behavior changes in a snap, and they snap right back in, and 10 and 2 on the wheel, and everything's great. So we catch we want to catch folks doing things in live, and that's why they give us, you know, in-car camera, body cameras, things like that to record what's going on.
So yeah, essentially, if they see you, they slow down temporarily, go show that beautiful behavior that we all want to see, and then the moment they're past you and they feel safe again, they go back into resuming the dangerous behavior that we're trying to prevent. By stopping them, catching them, ticketing them, we leave that sting that may change their behavior going forward. They may remember the fact that we're out there, we're watching, and we are enforcing. So it's education through enforcement.
100%. No, it's yeah, all those good things. So no, it's a great gig for again for traffic officers. Yeah, it's just a motivated folk, a bunch of group of officers out doing what we need to do, and a lot of it's we're building relationships with. It may sound funny to say this, but building relationships with the local divisions and the officers that are working day in and day out doing traffic enforcement. We're trying to build sort of the connections locally to understand where they're having some challenges, whether it be you know, sort of community safety zones, speeders. The local residents are the local experts, and we're really trying to feed on that knowledge and go into the areas where we could do some good for them too.
Right, and there's a lot of there are a lot of requests we hear from the public. They are concerned about the way people are driving in their neighborhoods. They live there. They have children. They're concerned for their own safety, and you're bringing and trying to slow down those behaviors that could put them at risk.
You got it.
Sean Chen from a viewer from YouTube is asking what the fastest car in the Vision Zero enforcement team fleet is.
Oh, fastest. I don't know. It's I'm not a car guy. I know you are. I'm not a car guy. So I don't know. I don't really we've got to watch you know, we've got internal policies that dictate high speeds that we go. All of our police cars are GPS equipped and whatnot. So when we hit a threshold speed, it gets they get notified, the local station, and so we have to watch that. So we don't want to be contributing to it as well, to the problems, but you know, I don't know what the top speeds are. I think our vehicles aren't sort of supercharged, and we don't have any nitrous kits or anything going on.
No Lamborghinis?
No Lamborghinis. We our police cars are typically a little bit more beefier in terms of suspension, transmissions, things like that, to make them longer life vehicles. So we have advantages that way. But I have no clue what the I'm looking at my speedometer. 260, it says. Man, if I get close to that, you'll never get me close to that speed.
No, well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, the goal is, and a lot of people ask this about, you know, police officers are often seen exceeding the speed limit, and there is an exclusion or permission under the HTA for police, fire, and ambulance to exceed the speed limit as course of their duties. They need to be able to do that. You can't catch a speeder unless you exceed the speed limit.
Yeah, no, even if we're, you know, if somebody's doing 150 on the highway and I'm going from 0, I'm going to have to exceed, you know, overtake that speed that the person was traveling in order to make up ground, and then get them hopefully to slow down once they see the lights and activate the sirens, kind of stuff. So,
and that's before you even notify them by way of flipping on the lights. You're trying to catch up to them, and then so very often police people say, or our audience is saying that they observe police without their lights flashing and they're exceeding the speed limit. Why are they doing that? And that's the reason, is because we're not ready to pull you over yet.
Yeah, and you know, Sean as well, and Brandon as well. We take special courses and training and stuff like that, and then we have great officers that do our police vehicle operations, and they give us, you know, with a variety of courses throughout our careers to again give us an advantage over the average driver by providing courses and experience, the feel of driving and some tactics that we can use to make things safer for us. And
certainly,
but through that.
But it is a serious thing. We don't take it lightly. It's not speeding for the sake of speeding. It's speeding for the purpose, or driving with a purpose. Now we have a question from Marilyn Metras. I may be mispronouncing. I apologize if I am. Tailgating thoughts, please. What does one do or not do? Thanks.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, it happens all the time. But I'll be honest with you. A lot of that is road rage and behavior, right? People are in a rush, go. We're seeing it, a little bit of the traffic volume come back now that the restrictions of COVID are loosening slightly. Sounds like maybe today there'll be even more loosening of the restrictions again. So we're seeing some return to normal traffic flows. So you're with that. You're going to see these drivers again. Me personally, my advice to folks that I know in my life that are new to driving, and if, you know, similar questions have been asked over the years, I want bad drivers in front of me and gone. Right, as a cop, I know how to deal with that, but you as just a regular person driving around, man, if somebody's on your butt tailgating you, slow down, get off the gas, change lanes. Don't incite problems. Don't sort of feed into that the behavior that's, that person's pushing behind you. I always want that, I won't use the word that I normally would say on live social media, but I always want that poor driver in front of me out of my way, right?
Yeah.
Let them
Yeah.
go wherever they want to be, whatever they want to do. Hopefully there's a VZEC cop further upstream that catches them doing what they were doing. But you in the moment is the person that's
Excuse me.
you want that person as far in front of you as possible. And I typically say, get off the gas, change lanes. You may think, why am I having to change, what I want to do? But you know what? It just, it's probably easier for your day just to get that person gone.
But you make a really good point. If you pass them,
Yeah.
you don't know when they're coming back into your into your area. You get past them for a few minutes. The way traffic happens, the way the flow of traffic, you may meet them again, and they could be running into you. So yeah, let them do their thing.
Yeah, you see it as well. All these things, they like sort of get these little snips on the media that we see about folks that get in road rage, and you ask why, and you distill it down. We've been to some of these, lots of these calls, too many actually, and you ask the person, what was wrong? What was the big problem here? What started it all? And it's usually nothing, right? It's usually, the person cut me off. Some perceived slight or thing that happened in front of them, and it's usually nothing. And so again, it's just, again, if somebody's behind you, let them go.
So let's say you change lanes and you slow down and you're giving them all a wide berth to go away, but they decide to follow you and continue that.
Well,
next steps.
Yeah, then don't be a victim, right? Start collecting some. Hopefully, you got a dash camera. A lot of folks are doing it now. A lot of the new cars have them built in, right? So a lot of them, I would say, don't be a victim. Start being a bit of a witness and collecting some information. Get a license plate. Try to get a description for an officer, and then again, get out of the way. If things happen, hopefully it stops. Get off the road if it's really bad, and then that's where you call your local police department and make a report. I know you guys cover it all the time, how to make these reports, online driving complaints, whatever you need, but without a license plate, a little descriptive information, if there's a unique little characteristic to that vehicle, that the rims or a thing, some logo or I don't know, whatever, a dent or something, then grab it and make a note to yourself. A lot of the times you can just, you can dictate something right after it happens on your phone, just so you got something to refresh your memory, and away you go. And that's when you would go from victim to witness to complainant, and that's great. Let us deal with those things after they happen.
And if it does go away, but it's something that was short and can be resolved by a complaint online after, great. If it's something that you're really concerned about for your immediate safety, call 911.
Yep.
Now, Sean Chen asks a follow-up question. He asked about what the fastest car was earlier, but he wants to know if a VZ officer has ever accidentally pulled over another unmarked officer from TPS or another jurisdiction.
We're good. Now, the only thing that I have not done anything like that. Have I ever stopped at an unmarked police car? Yes, and it would have been sort of somebody doing surveillance, again, in a really unmarked car. But again, like you mentioned it, the HT allows us to do certain things because we've got it in the execution of our job, and we take that seriously, whether it be speed or going through a red light after you stop, those kinds of things. But I would say, a surveillance officer that was doing something ahead of, and how do I know what kind of car they got? So,
and they're not in uniform.
No.
It's a surveillance officer is truly undercover,
Yep.
as opposed to an officer who is in VZ, who's a fully uniformed officer. And Not My Real Name is asking through YouTube, can the sergeant please explain a traffic stop process? And it sort of segues into a question that we see a lot, which is if you're pulled over and you don't know if it's a police officer, you have questions. Could it be an impersonator? What can you do? And a lot of people want to know, can you drive to another location? Can you not stop here but get off the highway? What are the steps that you can do?
Well, let's just take the typical one. What we need folks to do is, if you see a marked or unmarked car, our lights, we've got blue and red alternating lights. It's hooked up to the headlights. They'll be flashing back and forth. Very bright, very noticeable, of course. There'll be a siren and some sort of an audible noise that comes out, not just a horn, but a real siren that we've got, an air horn. And then, we see it a lot. People freeze, they get nervous. The adrenaline just spikes off through the roof and the heart starts beating. I get it. Right. And the idea is that too many drivers just freeze, panic, hit the brakes, stop in a live lane. Well, we all know, catch your breath. Oh my God, this is not a good day. But we want you to signal, get to the right lane, right? Help us out, get over to the right curb, slow down, stop. And go from there. We'll engage you. I see a lot of drivers too think they're doing us a favor by pulling into parking lots that are off the street. I had one guy pull right into a mall plaza parking lot and park as if he was going into the store. I get it, but now we're engaged. We've got our lights and sirens on. Now I'm pulled in it's very difficult for us to do what we've got to do in the middle of a live parking lot. So stay on the road where you can. If you need to be moved, we'll give you some direction and calm things down and see what's going on. If you're not sure, I'll answer that part of the question. If you don't think it's a cop or you're a little bit hesitant, you're not sure, then that's something completely different, and it's going to have to dictate what goes on. But know that you'll have to articulate and explain later on, if it is an officer, why you didn't stop or things like that. I have heard where folks have called 911 after being pulled over by an unmarked car. That's okay, and we'll deal with that as it comes. And that's why we record everything and go from there.
Absolutely. And when you mark yourself on a stop, when we type into our computers that we're about to stop you, we enter your license plate in, we alert the dispatch of who we're dealing with. Process begins on that side, but that means that when you call 911 to find out if we're legitimately police officers, they already know who you are. They'll know about the location because we're GPS based, and they'll be able to say, yes, in fact, that is a real police officer, and you should be listening to them. Pull over. My suggestion would be pull over as the law dictates, which is to the closest curb safely as you can, because you don't want to generate more tickets. If you keep driving, you've essentially created a pursuit situation by failing to stop for police, and we're going to continue. But now you're escalating the situation, and you're likely going to get charged for additional things.
You got it.
Now,
actually, what? I think that bleeds really well into another question we had from a viewer. We unfortunately, I think they were watching this show, but they didn't ask into the live chat.
So wife.
We didn't have a chance to answer it at the time, and it was a great question, and I think it's perfect for the sergeant. I was wondering if you could talk about: is there a correlation between certain types of vehicles that are involved in Big Four offenses? Like, is there a type of vehicle that seems to be the winner of well, not a good winner, you know what I mean?
Winner's not a good term.
yeah. Who does it the most?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. We see all types of vehicles. It can be, I don't know. I don't want to stereotype and be judgmental of that. So I'm going to say no. I think any vehicle is capable, and any driver. In terms of modifications, I'll be honest with you. I'm seeing a huge change in the last number of years. In the types of vehicles that are being modified. It used to be that, again, maybe it was the division that you police and whatnot, but a lot of self-mods were being done. I'm seeing very few of those self-modifications or really amateur modifications being done to motor vehicles now. A lot of them are high-end, professionally done.
Really?
So people are spending some dough to get their vehicles, brought up, sort of modifying them, whether it's faster, it's putting stuff on to make them faster, look better, different exhaust systems. But I'm just seeing the real sort of cheesy, cheap, self-done on the driveway modifications not being done to the same extent as a number of years ago. Yeah, higher end vehicles in great shape. I'm just not seeing that as much. Where we are seeing things being modified, that is a challenge for drivers. When you make the modification, they don't notify the ministry, right? Or they don't notify the insurance company that they've made big changes to the car to make them faster, lower them, whatever. That's a problem. Or B, they're doing modifications like adding tint or tinting the lens covers on vehicles, changing the colors of the front facing lights on these cars. A lot of them now, the LEDs are being put in headlights, and folks are controlling them with a cell phone, changing the colors, I guess. And that's fine if you're in a parking lot, you're doing like and you're showing doing a show and shine or whatever. You can change all the fancy colors under the hood, in the back, under the car. But when you're moving down the road, especially the lens lights that are in the headlights, they can't be red or multicolored or changing or flashing. And so we're seeing modifications like that are creeping into what we're seeing as our new reality. But I guess hopefully that sort of answered some of the questions.
Yeah, I think it does. I think they were really looking for, was it a Mustang versus a Ferrari that is the biggest offender? But the truth is, we had someone that was doing over 200 kilometers an hour on the Don Valley Parkway. They were in a four-door Lexus, just a regular car. So there's no specific make, model, color that is an offender more than another. Exactly. I really don't think that's the case. I think every day people are making bad decisions in various types of vehicles. Including motorcycles.
Yeah, the type of car we hear when the vehicles that get stolen, there's always that list that comes out annually. They talk about the top 3, top 10 whatever cars that get stolen. Yes, then you can rank that by make, model, things like that make them more desirable, I guess, to car thieves. But in terms of folks that are doing stunt or different sort of driving behaviors, modifications, I think it's done in any type of car nowadays. Right?
Yeah, and I think as far as like at least between us three and between officers in general, I think that's sort of the common knowledge. Anyone, any type of car of any year, any model seems to be a potential person who could be speeding or driving dangerously. But we get that question quite frequently where people are asking, "Well, what if I drive a red car? Is it just sport car? Like what type of car is getting pulled over?" It's like, nope, it doesn't matter who's behind the wheel, what the car looks like. If it's doing things that aren't supposed to be done, we're probably going to stop you.
Well, it leads into the thing that we see a comment. Why do the police hate modified cars so much? Why are they targeting and going after us? And it's not that we're going after a particular look or style of a car. It's based on behavior. If you're speeding, that's who we're looking for. If you're driving like aggressively and you're putting others at risk, that's who we're looking for. It's got nothing to do with who you are and what you're driving.
There you go.
Now we've got some more great questions in the chat, of course. Some people just saying hello, hi, how's everyone doing out there? What's the next one? Someone asking specifically about the divisions. Why are they numbered? Do either of you happen to know that? Why are they numbered in that manner?
Historical, and it's changed, and things have blended together. So I don't know if the numbers are as important as they were, other than it's good to know where you live and and who polices you, so you can call the appropriate station. But that's that map you put up earlier, it covers that. So let's see here. Amanda McDonald, who's one of our auxiliaries, was helping to answer some questions in that chat. And of course, Sean Chen is interested to know if there's any interesting or funny excuses for violating the rules. And everyone's got, we hear a tremendous number of interesting excuses. Is there one that stands out of your mind as a good one, Sarge?
Oh, you know what? Some of them are, I guess, sort of funny, but I think it's just. I think people in the moment, a lot of the excuses are from just nerves, right? They're just nervous. They know they did what they did, and they're coming up scrambling with a reason, right? And I'm sure at the end of this career, you could write a coffee table book with excuses that we've heard over the years. But I think it just stems from nerves, and people know, geez. You know the difference between doing 50 kilometers an hour down a street. Like I'm in 23 on Islington Avenue right now. And you know the difference between doing 50 and the speed limit and doing 70, 75, 80. You know the rush that that road is not designed for those speeds. And so when you get caught, pulled over, I think folks just get nervous and they say something silly or, late. I need to go to the bathroom. I got to do this. Sometimes they make you laugh and some of them are funny. Right.
Well, Amanda will buy your book. She says she's ready. She's be your first customer.
Yeah.
Talking about those excuses and whether they're funny or not, they're just excuses. They don't actually justify the action. When you're putting other lives at risk, the public, vulnerable road users, by making choices, even if you are late, it doesn't justify it. We had a question that went last week on TikTok, and it was if a couple were racing to the hospital because they were in labor, what would you do? What is the protocol? And our advice is don't do that. There's no excuse for speeding. Call an ambulance if you have to get there quickly. But, we don't do escorts. We don't transport people. We would call an ambulance at the roadside because that would be the safest thing to do, and we're responsible.
Yep.
So excuses, there aren't any, but there are funny ones. Brandon, do we have another topic that we need to touch on?
Well, I think it's important that we touch on motorcycle collision trends to some degree. I think we had a fairly serious collision last weekend involving motorcycles.
It was a fatality.
It was a fatality, extremely serious. So I was hoping we could talk to the sergeant about that. What is your team seeing in terms of motorcycle behaviors, and how is that contributing to the rise in collisions?
Well, I happen to be right at that collision, spoke to an eyewitness on Lakeshore and 42nd Street where that fatal crash happened. So there's, so I know that one specifically very well. But generally, it comes down to a couple of things. I know Sean rides the bike. I ride the bike for the police department. I think you've got your own stuff. Let me just turn this one off. But it comes down to if you're asking me specifically what I think about motorcycling and why car crashes are happening, it comes down to a couple things. I think speed, right, obviously is the reason, but inexperienced riders, right, riding way beyond their comfort level or their skill level, and big, powerful bikes. And I don't want to say sort of new riders. I think the trend I think that surprises a lot of folks when it comes to fatal motorcycle crashes is it's not young people typically that are involved. It's a little bit older, more experienced people that might have some disposable cash at that period, at that time of their life,
Right.
and they're going to buy the big bike, and it's going to have tons of power, and they don't have the skill set to take on that type of riding, right? That they're doing. So that's what I see. And I mean, that goes beyond like the folks doing wheelies and taking, just obviously stunt driving on a motorcycle. But that's where it comes into inexperience, going way too fast, buying a bike with a huge CC capacity displacement in it that you can't handle. Once you get yourself on an open road, or you get into a bit of a jackpot where somebody doesn't see you, or you're going faster than somebody's expecting, and now you got to make an aggressive maneuver, and you don't have the skill set to handle that thing. Sean?
And riding is a perishable skill. You put away a bike for a winter, and you come back and you go, I know how to ride. I've been riding for 20 years. Well, yeah, but no, you got to go. We spend, Toronto police riders in general, we qualify annually. We train, we practice every moment where we're not occupied doing something that's assigned or taking up our attention, doing a report. We're in a parking lot. We're on the training pad. We're practicing and making sure our skills are up to snuff, because it's safety. It really is an important factor to our day to day.
Well, I've got the wing wheel on there because typically I would requalify on the police bike, and I've done a bunch of stuff. But I'll be honest with you, this is the first year that I've not I intentionally did not requalify on the police motorcycle, because doing this job in VZET, we don't have motorcycles assigned to us. And I say this all the time. It's probably the most dangerous thing I've ever done on this job in 25 years of policing, is riding a motorcycle. For the police department. It's super risky. You've got to be switched on. It's not like getting in a car that I'm just going to go A to B and go for a drive. On a bike, either a police bike or your own bike, it is absolutely, you can't approach a motorcycle ride like you would a car. Jump in, put on your seatbelt, and just go. You can sort of not be completely switched on. But when you're on a bike, you will get yourself in a world of hurt if you're not on your game.
And even if you are on your game, I almost 3 years ago, I was involved in a non-duty motorcycle collision. Yep. I was riding back to the station. I was doing it all right. I was approaching a red light, yep. Coming to a stop, and someone pulled out of a parking lot that didn't have the sight line, yep. And they hit me. And yep. I ended up, I haven't been on the road since. I've been working in an enforcement capacity. So it's a serious deal.
100%. Yeah. So, I mean, that's, I guess that's where I was. Yeah, motorcycles, that's the big problem. And do me a favor, a pet peeve, and it's something that we're seeing more and more, talking about bikes, license plates, right, on the motorcycles. Too many riders have got these things jacked up under the back. I don't know, what do they call it? It's not a fender, but it's whatever the back of the bike is. And they've got this weird hinge that you can't see the plate. It's not, it's been a modified plate. I don't know, it's not a cover, but you know what I mean, the mount. And too many riders are making the decision to put these things on their bikes, and the plates are sucked up underneath. You can't read them properly, and it's just one of those things that we're looking for some help from folks to reconsider doing that. We know why you're doing it. You're going to take, typically it's not it's to make the bike look any better. You're just you're trying to hide what you're doing, and if you're taking, because you're already got a helmet on and you've got the equipment on, and by masking or disguising the motorcycle license plate, it's a big problem that we're working on. So when we see it, we're engaging drivers, riders, even in parking lots. I'll pull them over and go, guys, you've got, what's with the plate, and you'll hear the different reasons for it. But if you see that as a motorist, absolutely feel free to use the online. I know Brendan's talked about the online tools that we've got. Make an online complaint if you see your neighbor doing that, sort of regularly. I have no problem. I think it's a good idea. Let us engage and look at that as well. So a couple things with motorcycles there.
And when you make a report like that, if you're reporting that someone has their license plate hidden, it's not that they're going to necessarily get a ticket for it. Yep. What we would do is issue a letter to them and say, hey, you've been observed. Your license plate's tucked. We now know that your license plate's tucked. Yep. You should correct that. And it's a friendly reminder. It's coming from the police, but it was initiated by concerned members of the public because they know what's going on with these riders.
So and obviously riding's a short season, and we're just seeing it now. Obviously, we're right in the middle of the early parts of summer. So this will end come fall time, and it's the same thing every season. But it's just another thing that's a good chance to talk to folks about. If you ride a bike, plate all jacked up, and reconsider that police are going to be engaging you and asking you about it for sure.
And at the end of the day, this is all, we always talk about, is this for cash? Is this so the province can make some money? No, it's because we're trying to change the behavior. We want to keep everyone safe, including you. So, if you do break the rules, pull over, follow the rules from that point forward, because you don't want to escalate a simple, driving violation into something that's much worse, whether you get injured as a result of trying to evade or you get charged criminally.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you very much. We've talked about a lot of things. We have a few other comments that were in the chat room, and I'm sure we won't get to them. But Seymour Butts wants to know if you have any sports cars in the VZ.
You know what? If maybe the Chiefs listening and our fleet manager, if they want to give us something fancy and sporty, we're all for it. I won't.
Ferraris all around.
Exactly. No.
Awesome. Well,
I'll take what we get. I'm
okay. You won't be picky. That's awesome. Listen, thanks again. Really appreciate your time. For anyone watching, we will be signing off from this live, but we'll be moving on to TikTok at 9:00. And today we will be on the Jerry Agar Show on News Talk 1010. Our live will start at 9, but at 9:35 we'll be crossing streams and we'll be broadcast live in the city of Toronto. If you're tuning in either by radio or by TikTok, we look forward to seeing you. Oh, Sergeant Moore has said goodbye. Brandon, anything else for us? Do you want to throw some some messaging? Is there some stuff to talk about? So we got our traffic services TikTok title. If you don't have the app, you should grab the app. It's free. Oh, Sergeant Moore's back. Now he's gone.
He's back.
He's back and gone.
I would just like to reiterate what you and the sergeant said. You both mentioned the importance of training. We were speaking to a motorcycle certification school the other day. They were reiterating again, training is absolutely crucial. They're even seeing a lot of novice drivers make some serious mistakes because they're not taking time to get training. And we understand it's a strange time. Training is very hard to get, but you have to remember that driving, unfortunately, is not a right. It is a privilege.
That's right.
And if it goes wrong, it can go very wrong. It'd be very life-changing. Not only for you, but for your family or somebody else.
A community, people who know and love you, who don't want to see you get hurt. And what that particular driving instructor was saying is that they're seeing an abundance of people who are probably riding without license and insurance because of the delays caused by the pandemic. And if you're a G1 or an M1, I should say, rider, you may have a difficult time getting insurance for your motorcycle. My understanding is that if you don't have at least a confirmed registration and a course, you may not be able to get insurance. And that's driving some people to just do what they want. And there are serious, what's my word? Ramifications. There we go. Consequences. Thank you. Oh, I lose those words sometimes. I don't know where they go. In any case, there are consequences if you are charged and convicted for an M1 or an offense that is violating the rules of a learning license. You can be getting a 30-day suspension for your first offense, second offense 90 days, I believe, and the third time you reset your clock to 0, you have to reapply for your license. So there's a serious issue with people breaking the rules, and we understand the frustration, but it doesn't permit the behavior. So I'll stop beating that drum today, and I will get ready for the next segment of our day, which is on TikTok. So everyone have a wonderful day. Hope that you get good weather and clear skies and all that jazz. And there's the eyebrows. Okay. That is definitely time to end the stream. Have